And for you guys, only a second. For me, a couple minutes. I'm now posted up, sitting, chilling. So we're going to finish this off, go through our previews, the last 3 games. The first game of the nightcap after Oklahoma and Michigan was the equivalent, the low-end version of it, the CUSA version of it. Speaking of CUSA and their people, Tulsa lost to New Mexico State 14-21. Honestly, it was a very slow game, 3-0 at half, and then all the rest of the scoring happened after the halftime. I ain't gonna lie, it was kind of a weird game. Baylor Hayes, 13 for 16, 129, one touchdown, 1 interception. Kirk Francis, 13-23, 100 yards and an interception. And that's only for Tulsa, so that's 229 between 2 quarterbacks. They're trying to figure it out, split quarterback. Hayes, 3 carries, 22 yards and a touchdown. And Dominic Richardson, 20 carries, 93 yards. No touchdowns. Oh, what do we got here? I don't think I got the one mistake I made while taking this was figuring out who is the receiver who managed to get the touchdown. Zion Bucker, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 51 yards. Micah Tease, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 50 yards. And Braylon Presley, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 37 yards. On the opposite side, New Mexico State, Logan Fife, 28 for 45, 252, and 2 touchdowns. He was also the only one on the ground with major sets, 12 carries for 28 yards. They really went heavy in the air. They had Donovan Fopple, 10 targets, 8 receptions, 78 yards, a touchdown. Jackson Owens, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 39 yards. Gavin Harris, 4 targets, 3 receptions, 34 yards, and a touchdown. And P.J. Johnson, the third, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 30 yards. There really wasn't a whole lot to say about this game other than it was very close, and it felt a lot like the Oklahoma and Michigan game, except for it was Michigan. In this occurrence, Michigan. Let me get to Michigan, aka New Mexico State, getting the win. It's always good to watch the Tulsa guys do what they're doing. It's unfortunate that I had to sit there and witness a 2 quarterback situation, and yeah, that went about as well as expected. It's going to be a long season for Tulsa, probably too long of a season already. But I'll be checking in with them pretty regularly, as they are the brothers from up north, the redheaded stepchild up north. In the next one, I get to for the second week in a row, I witnessed Stanford do ridiculous things against BYU. BYU stomped them 27-3. For some reason, Stanford is terrible. I still think it might be Frank Reich and the delusion of Andrew Luck that's causing this, but that could be me. This time, Frank Reich had the glasses down all the way down to his nose, and it looked about as curious as it could be. He looked about as lost and alien to what he was trying to do on the sidelines as it seemed. Bengal Branson for Stanford, 17 for 32, 142 yards, and 2 interceptions. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot going on. I'm not even going to name stats. And not any disrespect to anybody that's playing, because it's not their fault they have to go through this entire period. And the sad thing is, the more I had to think about it, the more I realized it's college football. Andrew Luck, unless things go absolutely terrible and there's something going on, isn't going to get rid of Frank Reich anytime soon. So, like I said, it's Stanford fans. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a hard, long. If Andrew Luck manages to pull it off, I'll be surprised. And it's not going to be this year. I understand. This year's already lost. You guys are losing to Hawaii and BYU, getting stomped by BYU by 24 points. On BYU side, Bear Bachmeier, 17 for 27, a $175, and a rushing touchdown. L.J. Martin rushing 18 rushes, 110 yards. Sione Moa, 7 carries, 29 yards, and touchdown. Chase Roberts, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 84 yards. Carson Ryan, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 36 yards. And JoJo Phillips, 7 targets, 3 receptions, 30 yards. This was just BYU getting ready for conference play. Big 12 conference play is chaotic, and Stanford should probably be looking for key matchups to just kind of scramble for a victory. 4 wins is what I now see this team as, 4-8. Unless something changes. I've watched enough Stanford already. 2 games. And that tells me more than what I need to know about Stanford. And it hates to be critical, but there's so many other teams on the exact opposite scale. And especially with the history and with some of the players that Stanford has had come through, you would think that there would be a little bit more pride in it. But, not every California team is focused on making themselves great at football. And that's understandable. Not everyone has to be. But if we're talking in trying to win a national title perspective, there is nothing going on at Stanford, and they're not going anywhere close to forward. And the last one on the docket was Washington State throttling San Diego State 36-13. And it wasn't in the traditional throttling. It was San Diego State. They had a little bit of going here and there, but they just were stopped a lot. The level of talent was so big. It's wild. San Diego State's only going to get better. They showed that they could at least do something. They're going to be a part of the Pac-12 next year. And they got to work on a lot of things. Jaden Denegal, 15 for 30, 133, touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Lucky Sutton, 15 carries, 88 yards. Jordan Napier, 12 targets, 7 receptions, 69 yards. And Jacob Bostic, 7 targets, 3 receptions, 48 yards, and a touchdown. On Washington State side, I was confused there. I gave it a confused look because I was wondering, if you look, the way I have this set up, just in case y'all guys are wondering how I nerd out here. So, this is the end of the San Diego State. Usually I fill out this entire side, but this is actually the finishing of the receivers from the Washington State side on this side. So when you normally see it, no matter what, I'm only going to just turn back one. This is Stanford BYU. I know you can tell because it's backwards, but all the players and all their stats, names, and everything associated is on their individual sites. Like I said, it confused me because I remember doing this last night when I got home from work and going, oh, wow. Jackson Potter, 28 for 42 for Washington State, 257 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kirby Voorhees at the running back position, 13 for 67. Leo Pelosi, 5 for 30. Angel Johnson, 8 for 28. Joshua Meredith, 10 targets, 8 receptions, 8 yards. Angel Johnson, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 35 yards. Carter Pabst, 3 targets, 1 reception, 34 yards. Now for the touchdowns, Leon Neal Jr., 2 targets, 2 receptions, 19 yards. And a touchdown, Trey Lechner, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 17 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was just a pretty easy win for Washington State. Lord knows what they'll bring to the next handful of games. But as of right now, they're doing a fantastic job in at least being competitive. So as I said, this last little part will be the preview for the next couple episodes. Because the next time I post will probably be this time next week. As this will probably be a weekly kind of thing on a Monday. Maybe a Tuesday. The Tuesday at the latest, for sure. And I'll make word on that. Week 3 starts Thursday. And I'll start easy with the North Carolina State Wake Forest. I can't wait to see what North Carolina State does to Wake Forest, because at this point Wake Forest has already no-showed the season harder than anybody I could ever imagine, other than, as I've said, Stanford. Stanford has started off with the snooze. So, hold up. Stanford, Oklahoma State, and Wake Forest have all had the snooze button on, and they don't care to wake themselves up. Next, on Friday, I will be watching Colorado at Houston. Deion Sanders already having a coaching blunder with clock management. Conference play, Houston. Houston's spicy. They're always spicy. Their offense, they have a tough defense. They play hard, play 4 quarters, the entire thing. It's conference play time. Next, Arizona, Kansas State. Kansas State has been very slow, and it almost seems like dormant Kansas State season. Unfortunately, honestly. Arizona, after throttling Hawaii, I mean, honestly, this is a great way to get started. Playing a tough defense and an offense that really needs to do something to wake up. Playing against that, they might be able to make a couple stops and make a couple touchdowns and really put the hammer down on Kansas State and make a statement early. Next, on Friday, the third and final game on Friday will be UCLA in New Mexico. Watched New Mexico last week against Michigan, or the week before last against Michigan. And it'll be interesting to see what they could do against UCLA. And what's his name? The transfer from Tennessee, who is not doing the greatest and could definitely play better. This will be a good ramp-up game before they get into Big Ten play. That's for sure. And honestly, I hope UCLA doesn't win. I want to see New Mexico win. Just because chaos. I want to see chaos. Because I honestly could say, I'm predicting, and I'm not going to predict scores, nothing like that. I'm not even going to predict it in the spread. Just face value, North Carolina State should win. Houston, I'm going to give Houston a close win, or they're losing by 14. They're winning by 3 or losing by 14. No in between. I expect Arizona, they've started off pretty well, and getting the win against Hawaii the way that they did, and the way Kansas State has started out very slow, very offensively just neglectful. Arizona should win that one. UCLA reasonably should beat New Mexico. Now for the big Saturday, where we have the main 8 games. Oklahoma has an early slot. We go to Temple. You know I'm going to be there. At the same time, we got Buffalo going to Kent State. I will be there too. I love myself some Buffalo Bills. I won't mind watching some MAC football and watching Buffalo and Kent State. I'll also be watching the Purdue in the next time slot, Purdue and USC. I want to see how USC does, see how Lincoln Riley does, see whether Purdue can pull an upset. I doubt that. But I will also be watching my game of the week to watch. It will be Miami hosting University of South Florida. For South Florida to start off so hot. Like I mentioned in the last video, I believe, everybody will repeat it. USF has started off super hot. As a matter of fact, getting ranked as of this last week. They've beaten 34-7 at Boise State. And then they just hosted, did they go to Florida? It really doesn't matter. Beat them 18-16. And honestly, if they continue to play teams close and let them make the mistakes, I'm not sure Miami's going to be the one to make the mistakes. I reasonably think Miami's going to, dump them by 14. But if USF plays the way that they have, play contained very well, Byron Brown continues to roll on like how he has, I have no reason to say anything other than USF might pull this off and they might have an easy time with the American. I'm just saying they might be one of the G5 teams in the playoffs. They replaced Boise State from last year. And after that, FAU, a rivalry from Florida, Miami, and I don't remember where Florida Atlantic is. It might be Boca Raton. I don't know. And Boca Raton is in Louisiana. I do not remember off the top of my head where FAU plays. And I'm fairly certain FIU plays in Miami. And they are getting leached by Miami. Another Florida rivalry, the low-end Florida rivalry, the one that nobody talks about, on the level of Florida State and Florida, or Miami and Florida State, Miami and Florida. The equal to those, it's just nobody cares about these other two. And if a USF and UCF were to play, the same thing. After that, I'm tapping into the Old Dominion, Virginia Tech. 2 Virginia teams going at it. Ain't no one said it can't be a rivalry. Old Dominion's only at Old Dominion's a sleeper here. No, I'm just kidding. Virginia Tech should reasonably go in and take care of business, but the ACC has a bad habit of playing down to the competition a lot of the time. And if Virginia Tech does it, I would be hella surprised they're not really the team to be doing that. Old Dominion plays good football, close football. But the last 2 games will be Tulsa, Navy. Got to check in on the Tulsa guys, and luckily they get to play one of the naval academies, or get to play the Naval Academy, one of the service academies. It'll be a cool game to watch. It'll be a cool game to follow. And the final game of my weekend will be Cal hosting Minnesota at the Lake Cap. I want to see what Cal's got this year. I haven't get to watch them, and I have not got to really spend a ton of time on Minnesota the way I want to. And being able to watch them in a late slot will definitely help me be able to do that. So that's what's upcoming. That's what has happened in this last week from my point of view. You'll see what these games that I've predicted, what the scores are, what the point differential is, the average of the point differential, same information next week. We'll run it back. I promise. Next Monday, next Tuesday, just like this week, we'll be back. Thank you guys. See you next time.